Hello, good morning! So today I'll be performing blood pressure taking. This is my assignment for the physical diagnosis class. Okay, so let's start. Now, let me show you the equipment that we'll be using for today. I have here the sphygmomanometer. It's the aneroid sphygmomanometer. And I also have, and we also need to have our ever reliable stethoscope. Okay, and lastly, our ethyl alcohol solution. Good morning, my name is Ken.
Hi.
I'm your doctor for today and I'll be taking your blood pressure. Your name, please?
Chucky De Leon,
Thank you. How about your date of birth?
July 28, 1985.
Okay, so can I call you Chuck? Is that okay?
Sure.
Thank you, Chuck. So before I start with our blood pressure taking, let me ask you to please sign our patient volunteer consent form. So I'll just read it to you, what's in here. So, Chucky De Leon of legal age and currently living, where are you living? Sorry?
Lapu-Lapu.
Okay, Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu. Hereby consent to volunteer as a patient model for me, Justrin Caril, a medical student from SW Finma School of Medicine in compliance with the requirements in physical diagnosis class. Further, by affixing my or your signature, I hereby consent to video recording of the return demonstration as a patient volunteer in compliance to the subject's requirements. Do you agree with this consent or do you consent me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. So here, please sign this first while I prepare our materials. Are you comfortable with your seat?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's make sure that your arm is at a heart level here. Oh, that's fine. That's okay. So what I'll do now is I have to wrap this cuff in your arm or on your arm. And then, please let me know if there's a little discomfort for me to adjust it for you. Okay? Before wrapping this, let me palpate first your brachial artery. So your brachial artery should be right above your antecubital fossa, right beside your bicep tendon. Or close enough. It varies per person, but that should be at least right above your antecubital fossa on the medial side. Okay, so once I'm done with finding your brachial artery, let me place your cuff and making sure that the artery index marker points to where the brachial artery that I palpated earlier, and it should be at least 2.5 centimeters or an inch higher to the antecubital fossa. Let me wrap this now, making sure that it's not too tight and not too tight and also not too loose. At least 2 fingers I can insert there. Okay. Next is I have to find the systolic pressure estimation. What I'll do is I have to palpate your radial artery this time, right here. Okay, I found it. So now I will inflate the cuff up until the time that, or up until the millimeter of mercury where I can no longer hear the radial artery palpation. Sorry. Okay, so let's deflate your cuff and wait for at least 15 to 30 seconds before we start your blood pressure taking. Okay. Making sure that it should be at 0 millimeter of mercury pressure. Are we good? Are you okay? Okay. So let me now place my the bell of my stethoscope on the brachial artery that I palpated earlier, making sure that my ear cuff is pointing on the right way. I'll be using the bell of my stethoscope. Now I'll place it there. That's why we need to have a gap for me to have a place for the bell. I'll now start inflating the cuff while listening to your to the systolic and diastolic sound, or the correct cuff sounds. Okay. Now I will inflate this. Your systolic pressure estimation was at 100 mmHg, so I'll just add 30 mmHg for the initial pressure, so that will be 130 mmHg pressure. Then once you reach 130 mmHg, then I'll start deflating the cuff at least 2 to 3 mmHg per second. Okay. So let me know if you feel any discomfort. Thank you. So now let me remove the cuff from your arm, and you have 100/60 blood pressure, which is within the normal range of blood pressure. So are you okay? Great. Thank you. Okay, so Chucky's blood pressure we took earlier is at 100/60 mmHg, so 100 systolic and 60 diastolic. If we base it on the blood pressure classification for adults, GNCA, American Society of Hypertension, he is at normal category. So we have 4 categories. First, a normal category has a systolic of less than 120 mmHg and a diastolic of less than 80 mmHg. Well, for the second category, it's the pre-hypertension. Systolic ranges from 120 to 139 mmHg and a diastolic of 80 to 89 mmHg. For stage 1 hypertension category, for ages more than 18 years old but less than 60 years old, also for the ones with diabetes or renal diseases, systolic mmHg is at 140 to 149, while diastolic is at 90 to 99. And for our last, while for the ones aging more than 60 years old under stage 1 hypertension, systolic ranges from 150 to 159, while diastolic is at 90 to 99 mmHg. Our last category is stage 2 hypertension, which has a systolic of more than 160 mmHg and a diastolic of more than 100 mmHg. So let us make sure that our blood pressure remains at normal category.